Tonight on To The Point, the state's sexually violent predator program put under the microscope.
This is a public safety issue.
What a new audit is revealing about how much money is being spent.
Tracking that chance of showers in the forecast, plus weather impact alert days going into effect with a red flag warning ahead.
Plus a hate crime investigation in Davis, the search for those who tore down a pride flag. And later, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, how a Stockton couple's dream turned into a national success story.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. We start tonight with new details about the placement of a sexually violent predator in California. A new state audit is showcasing inconsistencies in the state-funded program for rehabilitating and housing convicted felons. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us live with all the details tonight about this long-awaited state audit.
Well, Alex, the good news is the state auditor did find that the company contracted to rehabilitate sexually violent predators is actually doing its work. The bad news, there's not a clear way to track the work, and the cost just continues to increase by the millions as years go on.
I think we've got some justification for many of the concerns that we've been raising for 6 years on this CONREP program.
Senator Brian Jones has been openly critical of the conditional release program of sexually violent predators. He requested an audit more than a year ago on the Department of State Hospitals and Liberty Healthcare, and on Tuesday, the state auditor released this 52-page report.
This is a public safety issue.
The audit found DSH took an average of 17 months to find proper housing for a conditionally released SVP when state law generally allows for 30 days. But it acknowledged difficulties in finding housing because of negative community reaction.
The report also points out that the state is paying Liberty Healthcare $2,800 a month to find that housing.
The report found the state's spending on the program increased nearly 75%. From 2018 to 2019, the state spent $6.6 million, but the program costs went up in 2022 to 2023 to $11.5 million. More SVPs are being rehabilitated, and other reasons include the rising cost of housing and private security services.
This program specifically, of course, the costs are going to go up because there's no oversight.
Jones points to the audit finding DSH does not have an effective way to track and monitor Liberty Healthcare when implementing policies and procedures. Some of those policies are also out of date, citing Liberty's contraband policy hadn't been updated since 2011. In terms of its effectiveness, the report says 56 people have been in the program since its start in 2003, with 4% of them reoffending.
That's 4% too many. As I've been arguing, these SVPs should never be allowed out of prison.
The auditor recommended DSH to establish state-owned transitional housing, a model that other states like Washington and Texas have implemented. But in response, DSH says it disagrees with that recommendation, believing it wouldn't speed up the process of finding secure housing and would be a target for community protests.
That's a preposterous argument because right now the way the system works is as soon as a house is proposed, it's in the public and the neighborhood knows about it.
However, DSH agreed to conduct more reviews of Liberty Healthcare, develop a tracking process, and save money by conducting some activities internally.
Now, Jeannie, on top of the responses to the audit's recommendations, I do want to note that the Department of State Hospitals did provide you with an additional response, right?
Alex, the DSH acknowledged the report and says it's doing what it can to comply to the recommendations. Now, overall, the DSH says it will maintain oversight and supervision of Liberty Healthcare and is actively involved in reviewing proposed housing options for those looking to be released. Now, Senator Brian Jones also tells me he'll be working on some additional legislation to ensure the state abides by these findings. And we also reached out to the ACLU, who has openly supported this program, but they have yet to provide ABC 10 with a comment in response to this audit.
Jeannie, thank you so much. And if you would like to read more about the audit, we do have that link on our website, abc10.com. You can go there right now. New tonight, a Sacramento judge says there is enough evidence for 2 of the men accused in the K Street shooting to stand trial. The shooting back in April of 2022 killed 6 people and injured 12 others. DeAndre Martin and Mtula Payton face 3 counts of murder. Charges against a third suspect, Smiley Martin, were dropped back in August after he died in jail. PG&E is calling for public safety power shutoffs later this week due to elevated weather risks. So make sure you listen to this. Shutoffs are expected to start as early as Friday and could last until Sunday. Counties that could be impacted include Solano, Yolo, El Dorado, Amador, Placer, Nevada, Stanislaus, and Tuolumne. PG&E says specific addresses, maps, and shutoff details will be closer closer available to Friday. So make sure that you are staying on top of that. I want to go ahead and bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, who is tracking all of these changing conditions. And you're also calling for weather impact alert days, right, Monica?
That's right. We started off with our wind advisory. That starts up on Thursday at 11 p.m., takes us through Friday evening, but the red flag warning extends through Saturday afternoon, and much wider extent of that red flag warning for the conditions that are going to be primed for fast moving fires. So that's going to top the weather impact headlines. As far as our alert days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, wind and fire danger being the main impacts, and needing to really practice that fire safety plan, be ready to go, because this is the time of year. It's our peak fire season. Here comes the incoming cold front, and it is going to start to disrupt this weather pattern, bringing with it cloud cover for tonight through early tomorrow. A few light morning sprinkles possible in the valley. Chance of thunderstorms for the Sierra and the lower foothills. And then we're going to start to see some clearing, but that's when the winds start to ramp up. We're going to talk more about this and how long this will last coming up.
Thanks, Monica. An update tonight to a story that we have been following for weeks after calling a special session to address gas prices and big oil. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law with hopes of preventing future gas price spikes. The law gives state energy regulators the authority to require refineries to keep a certain amount of fuel on hand. The hope is that this will keep gas prices from increasing when refineries go offline for maintenance. Proponents say it would save Californians billions of dollars at the pump. Opponents of the law have said it could unintentionally raise overall gas prices and threaten the safety of workers by giving the state more oversight over refinery maintenance schedules. Now, the governor says he hopes people will notice these changes in prices by next summer. Turning now to the fentanyl crisis, the Sacramento Police Department just made their first homicide arrest in a fentanyl overdose case. 32-year-old Bianca Bewley died of a fentanyl overdose in her home back in December of 2023. 27-year-old Kyle Fireball has been arraigned on charges for homicide and felony narcotics. Sacramento police say Fireball admitted to talking with the victim, supplying narcotics, and purchasing fentanyl. He is ineligible for bail and is expected to appear in court on Monday, October 28th. Tonight, the Sacramento Sheriff's Office is investigating two separate shootings in Rancho Cordova. The most recent shooting happened early this morning off Charbonneau Way. Deputies say a man was shot in the stomach inside of a home. A woman was detained, and deputies tell us the man is expected to survive. No word yet on what led up to the shooting. And less than 2 miles away, deputies say a 17-year-old was shot in the chest outside of a store on Mills Station Road. It happened around 10 p.m. just last night. Investigators say the shooting happened in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven. They say the teen stumbled inside where employees called 911. Deputies tell us a 16-year-old was arrested in connection. The 17-year-old is expected to survive. Tonight, a Davis couple is being re-victimized after a man ripped down their pride flag and then drove off with it. Davis police say this is the second time this year that someone stole a flag from this couple's front yard. Both incidents are being considered hate crimes. Now, this Ring camera captured the most recent incident that happened on Saturday night at the couple's home off L Street. Police say a man in a white SUV got out of the passenger seat and removed the pride flag. Back in April, a man with a knife cut down the couple's Israeli flag.
We put that up after October 7th, and it's very personal because I'm the daughter and the granddaughter of Holocaust victims who did make it out alive, but nonetheless, they're survivors. So it's very personal. I also feel very bad about what's happening to people in Gaza.
Again, Davis police are investigating both incidents as hate crimes. They are asking people to come forward with any information. Still ahead, making sense of what's on your ballot. We're answering your questions about statewide props, and later in the show, why a Sacramento museum could be at risk of shutting down. So we mentioned those PG&E power shutoffs because we have those weather impact alert days coming. Some things are going to be changing in our forecast. So let's hand it off to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, who's going to break all those things down.
Right. It's been a really quiet, albeit hot, start to October. Now things are starting to change. I'll look at those weather impact alert headlines as we kind of run down how things are going to unfold. Tracking showers for tomorrow, increasing winds on Thursday, leading to some really high fire concerns on Friday. Highs for today in the 80s up and down the valley, 70s along the coast and for the foothills, but a big blast of cool air coming in Wednesday into Thursday associated with this weather system that is right now poised just off the coast. It brings us a chance of showers coming in for tomorrow morning's commute and into the afternoon. Now, most of the rain is actually going to be measurable on the east side of the valley through the foothills. There's not a ton of rain, and unfortunately, that's what adds to the extra elements of fire danger. About an inch of snow possible overnight Thursday into Friday on the passes for the mountains. Be prepared for a lot of changing conditions there. Here's a look at the futurecast. A lot of cloud cover tomorrow morning. Quick passing shower possible. Slight chance of a thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon for the foothills and the Sierra. And then we get into the potential of some snow popping up late Thursday through early Friday, and then things start to wind down and all the focus goes to those winds, increasing Thursday evening throughout the valley, and then we'll see those really ramp up into our Friday. They will back off somewhat on Saturday, but it's going to be one of those situations for about a 36-hour stretch. It's going to be pretty tenuous here for those winds, especially with the red flag warning in effect late Thursday through Saturday. We'll be monitoring that, and then we'll quiet things down towards the end of the weekend with highs staying in the 70s and low 80s.
Coming up after the break, the latest on the race for the White House. Plus, we're answering your questions about California's propositions. And later, a local museum is at risk of closing. What's needed in order for it to stay open? Tonight in Your Voice, Your Vote, ABC News is reporting that more than 5 million people have already cast their ballots during early voting. And it comes as early voting started today in Georgia with record turnout. With only 3 weeks to go until Election Day, both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are focusing on battleground states. Trump campaigning in Georgia today after talking economics in Chicago.
The most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff. We're going to bring the companies back. We're going to lower taxes still further for companies that are going to make their product in the USA.
Today in Detroit, Michigan, while in Pennsylvania yesterday, she unveiled a new campaign strategy, playing clips of Trump rallies at her rallies.
Worst people are the enemies from within.
The enemy from within.
He considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country.
Trump and Harris are expected to continue their battleground blitzes this week. And you already know ABC 10 is connecting you with all the information that you need to vote in this upcoming election. Our team is taking your questions and getting you answers. Here's reporter Brandon Ritteman.
Colleen in North Highlands asked us to tell her about all the new propositions. We've got 10 statewide props this year. Some of the issues you'll be voting on are rent control, crime, same-sex marriage, and billions worth of government spending. These can be daunting because you're being asked to vote yes or no on new laws, and some of them can be pretty complicated. We made short videos to explain exactly what a yes or no vote means on every single one. Just go to abc10.com/vote. Click on our voter guide and scroll down to the props. We also put them on YouTube if you want to subscribe to ABC 10 there. It's our 4th election cycle making these videos, and we still get emails from people telling us they're able to watch the videos while filling out their ballot as they go, and we love that. There are also dozens and dozens of local ballot questions. You will get a local voter guide from your county in the mail. Hold on to the mail that you're getting from your local governments because that is where you'll be able to find more detail on those local measures. If you read that info and it's still not making sense, fill out the survey at abc10.com/vote. You can ask us anything you want to know. We've got a whole team of journalists answering your questions. Thanks, Colleen. Happy voting.
And Sacramento voters will choose their next mayor on November 5th. From homelessness to the economy, ABC 10, along with Telemundo, took the biggest issues and your questions to both candidates. So make sure that you watch Sacramento's Future, the candidates for mayor, Thursday night at 6 p.m., also streaming live on ABC 10+. Tonight, the Sojourner Truth African Heritage Museum in South Sacramento is at risk of closing. The museum, which has several exhibits sharing Black stories and experiences, has served the community for years. It's a nonprofit organization that relies heavily on grants to stay open, but the board president tells us the museum did not get any grant funding last year, putting them at risk of closing.
80% of our funding came from grants. And so we're really trying to shift from that and not so much rely on grants because we haven't been getting any. So we've been shifting really to like fundraising. And so one of our fundraisers that we really rely on is the Banana Festival in August.
The museum has already made tough decisions to stay afloat, like cutting some jobs and employees' hours. So if you would like to help them out, they have started a fundraiser. We have a link on our website, abc10.com, that you can go to right now. Still ahead, how a Stockton couple's dream has turned into a national success story after the break. ABC 10 continues to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, and if you don't recognize this brand's name, you've probably seen it at a local grocery store. The Michelada mix and Mexican candy brand El Cejas, which translates to eyebrows, has taken over shelf space at many supermarkets, not only in California, but now in other states, with eyes on nationwide expansion. But all of this success would not have been possible without the Stockton community. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras shows us what started as a South Stockton couple's dream has now turned into a national success story.
With each cup, bottle, and bag,
I normally add the beer and then just top it off with some more of the mix.
Jesse Hernandez and Genesis Soto don't just produce prepackaged micheladas, chamoy candies, and margarita mixes.
This is the last thing we came out with was our gummies.
But also souvenirs of culture.
That just reminds you of home, of Mexico.
A reminder that started here at South Stockton's Fiesta Mexicana restaurant.
My mom and dad, they came from Mexico and they came to this country and they worked in the fields. My mom seen that the restaurant was, there was an opportunity to start a business. My mom was like, hey, let's go with it. Let's get the restaurant and we'll see how it goes.
34 years later, it's still going, but not without help from one entrepreneurial-minded employee.
I was 15 years old making over $150 in tips.
Eventually, after graduating from Edison High School, Jesse left the States to chase a goal, literally, playing soccer in Mexico.
Paid professionally, came back and I wasn't doing nothing for myself. So my mom bought a little vitrina. She told me, hey, what about if you start selling fruit? So I was like, you know what, that's kind of embarrassing.
Until he had a dream.
Somebody in my dream was like, hey dude, what about if somebody just made something that's convenient, anybody can make? So this is where the magic would happen, when we first started.
A simple pot that could make around 55 bottles of the lime, salt, and chili beer mix, just a few steps away from the first shelves that they would fly off of.
There was lines of people. I remember 15 to 20 people waiting in line to go get our famous michelada cups with ceviche. It was a great feeling. Musicians and stuff that would come and play their Mexican music and stuff, and it was just a party.
After nearly 2 years of weekend sales with the help of his then-girlfriend, Genesis,
He was making more every week, that it was just getting out of control.
it was time to step up the game by mass production. But with no investors, it was up to Jesse to get his product on store shelves.
I was in there not even selling a product. I was selling myself. So I would let him hey boss, please, I'm from Stockton, give me an opportunity.
A sales pitch that worked, landing his Michelada cups in hundreds of local stores.
What made us strong in the beginning was all the mom and pop stores that believed in us.
Hundreds turned into thousands, though.
Food for Less, Save Mart, Food Max, grocery outlet, cost less.
And now?
Our products have been into Atlanta, Arkansas, Washington. We're going to Oregon and Utah.
Even as the reach grows, Jesse and Genesis don't forget their roots.
There's a screw right here that my brother actually screwed in, and we would put them in here. That way the tents wouldn't move.
Cemented literally in South Stockton.
I remember sometimes going to sleep, you hear gunshots, and it's like a normal. People getting broken into cars, people getting murdered. Genesis and myself, having no money, and we would come drive up here to Murata, and we would drive around all these beautiful homes. And we would say, one day we're gonna buy a house here, and we finally, 2 years ago, were able to purchase a home here. So I get a little bit emotional because, definitely it's a dream come true. So make sure you guys find your product at a store near you. We appreciate you guys.
In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
I love this story because I have tried their products and I had no idea they were a local brand until we did this story. So 20 out of 10 recommend. You got to check them out. And that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. If you have something that we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And remember, strangers are just people we haven't gotten the chance to meet yet. So take the time to get to know someone. And To The Point does not end here. To watch stories featured right here on our show, download our free ABC 10 Plus app wherever you stream. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.